Live. What up, fam? We are now live on YouTube and Instagram.
Hey, hey, hey.
Going live now on Facebook. I'm no, sorry, on Instagram rather. I we're live on both actually. All right, what up, fam? So we're logging live a little bit later. I had a little crazy getting back from work. Natalie's coming on live on Instagram. Guys, like and share this feed on Facebook as well. We have a really dope topic for you today.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's dope.
It's dope.
There you go, Natalie is on live.
Am I on
I
Instagram
got
yet?
a lot
I'm
to
on
this
Instagram.
from YouTube and Facebook. It
Hey,
is Boss Talk
everybody.
Wednesday with my girl Natalie Lee Martin. She's coming on live. There you go. All right. Can you guys hear us on
Hey,
Instagram?
hey, hey.
And can you guys hear us? What up, fam, on YouTube?
Hey.
Anaya Green.
Hey, Renaya. What's up, girl?
What up, fam? All right, guys. So today we're just gonna get right into it because we kind of don't have as much time. And we were talking about the topic for today was the blessing of rejection, right? Um, and that is such a strong topic on so many different levels because we all experience rejection in some part of our life,
Mm-hmm.
right? Everyone experiences rejection. No one can get away from it. No one can get around it. But what happened is, what's important is your response to the rejection, right? Because you just never know what God is holding you back from, right? When I think I was like 18 or 19, I prayed a prayer and I said, God, whoever doesn't need to be in my life, uh, allow me to see it and allow me to get rid of them. But it seems like I can't get away from it. Allow them to reject me and let me be okay with it, right? And that prayer was such a blessing because there are a lot of people who could have been hooked up to my life that wasn't. And the reason why your connection is so important, your connection determines your output, right? So for example, I'll give you a good example, right? So I have a lot of lights in this spot, right? I do a lot of like photography stuff and I have food as well here that I cook. If I have too much stuff plugged in, the outlet won't work because there's too much power in that area, right? But when you're connected to a super power source, what happens is you're able to be connected at such a stronger level because that's the right connection. There are some things we're connected to that doesn't have the right voltage volume for us to even be into. For example, it's Natalie and I friendship, right? We're connected at the right place because we're able to really speak into each other. We're able to receive from each other. But there are some people that's in our life that are want to be attached to us that doesn't belong there is because they're not able to reciprocate that same energy to help you get to the next level. So once you start to realize that, you wonder why people are like not active right in your life. It seems like you want these people to be around you. You want your family involved in business. You want all this stuff. When the people are not meant to be around you, you have to be okay with being rejected because that's not the space you belong in to really help you proceed to the next level. So that's how we started off, Natalie.
Oh my gosh, you already know. You saw me take out my little clipboard and my pen and paper. I said, okay, he already starting off hard, packing those two punches, y'all. Listen, it's so funny because I said this is a topic that Chef J and I are super familiar with. I left a little thing on my stories like we too familiar with this, okay? Like rejection and the fact that you said that it's a blessing. We don't
Mm-hmm.
realize that it's a blessing for us. And I have to go back to that last word you said, where there is no reciprocity in the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times we hold on to things or people longer than we should. There has been no reciprocity for years, and yet we're still holding on because we had a moment
That
of
part.
glee or a moment of bliss or a moment where we connected, and that moment has long gone. The ship has sailed, but we're like holding on, waiting for the moment to come back around. And it's just
Mm-hmm.
like, no, let go, release. You know what
It
I
was a
mean?
one and done.
One and done.
A
The
season of one
purpose,
and done.
you know what I mean? The purpose has ended. And God is allowing the rejection now to bless your life because we don't realize that every open door is not a blessing. Every
Yeah.
open door is not a blessing. Every open door is not an opportunity for you to go to to the next level. We think that if the door is open, ooh, it must be for us. But once you get to, a certain level of mastery, there are going to be multiple doors that are open to you. They're
Mm-hmm.
going to be multiple. And when you're not prepared to really see which one is the right one, that rejection that comes in your life allows you to be like, oh man, that wasn't for me. oh man, that door wasn't for me. That place wasn't for me. Now God is really like making the path really clear. But we
Mm,
think the rejection is something against us and our personality, but the rejection is really to make the path clear for you so that you know I'm going in the right track. You know how when you play with those mazes, they have the mazes and you're like you drawing on the line and then you hit a roadblock, you're like, oh, I need to go back because that's not
yep,
going to get me to the destination.
that's
That's
good.
exactly what rejection is. It's that block to tell you, okay, you need to go back on the path because that's not where you need to be going.
That's
But
good.
we got to look at it from the right perspective.
And that's what key you said perspective. I forgot who preached this. It was either Creflo or it was either I think Ty Tribbett. Was talking about going to the eye doctor. When they go to the eye doctor, right? When you go get glasses checked, they keep saying, "Is this better? Is this better?" Because they want to make sure your vision is accurate. And so many times, when you have the wrong people in your life, it starts to cloud your judgment, cloud your vision. So you'll start seeing that you start participating in stuff that you normally wouldn't do. And that's not like it's a bad thing, but there may be people who volunteer, oh, you'd be great for this, when honestly, I could be great for that, but that's not for me. Right. And once you start to realize what's for you, what's not for you, you start to have clarity and a zoned in focus. And this is why me and Natalie deal with purpose and clarity, is because you have to be to the point where you're so focus about what you're supposed to be doing that when you come into different places, when it seems like it's not working for you, rejection is really okay. Like some people, like even the 409 product we talked about several times, their product was rejected 408 times. But in that 409th time, that rejection caused them to be one of the top selling cleaning products. So it's just like when you start to really think about it, and sometimes it catches you off guard because you feel like you're at the right place. You feel like, okay, this is my season. This is my moment. This is the person for me. This is the group for me. This is association for me. And then some real razzle dazzle crazy stuff happens. Like, oh man. And then you don't even let it sink in because it's like, wow, like, wait, I thought it was my time. And sometimes you have to really monitor your emotions because sometimes your emotions can get the best of you because you think you're supposed to be there. And then you realize that if you get caught up in the actual rejection part, but not the blessing of it, you'll end up prolonging sitting in the funk that you need to be out of. So once you start to realize that, hey, you know what? And this is a better. Every day I start my day off with saying, hey, I thank you, God, for open doors of opportunity, supernatural encounters, ordained positions for me. God, whatever's supposed to be a part of my day, I welcome it. If it doesn't belong to me, Holy Spirit, check me quick so I can know I need to move away from this situation. Once I realize that my time has a value to it and the time that you can never get back, you start to be mindful of staying in places that you don't belong. There are some places that was designed that may seem like a blessing, but when you get clarity of your purpose and start to know your purpose, you'll hear that thing in the back of your mind. This ain't it. This is not God best for you. This is not where you belong at. But if you keep ignoring it because it looks shiny, you'll start to think, oh, but I want to be here. The cool people are here. But then you realize that God has a whole nother level of greatness that's designed for you. But when you keep dwelling on the places that you were not invited to, the places that you didn't get invitation to, the places that didn't welcome you with open arms, I only go where I'm wanted. And when I'm not wanted, I know how to get up and leave. Because what I will see is I'll say that this not lining up, this not lining up. Okay, Jay, it's time to move on. And it's okay because the blessings that God has for you, especially as an entrepreneur, as a person, a lot of times when you get to the rooms that you think you belong in, you're not even at peace because you don't belong there. It's like getting an activity. You'll realize that what you think you want ain't is God's best for you. So once you start to move away from it, you'll get into a whole nother realm and realize that, wow, I'm at the right place at the right time, doing the right thing, enjoying the right blessing.
Oh, so many good points. Listen, I want to take a moment here. Um, Let me write this down because you said some good stuff, but I need to write it down. Okay, so let me take a moment right here to say, listen, if this is your first time on this podcast, Boss Up Talks today, then you guys need to go ahead and follow Chef J, the chef Tell me what it is, because I know
Oh,
you
the Chef
changed
J
it.
experience.
The
Oh yeah,
Chef
the Chef
J
J experience.
Experience, or follow myself, Natalie Lee Martin, on Instagram or Facebook. And you can follow Chef J on YouTube as well. We're streaming live on YouTube. So you guys do not miss another Boss Up Talks. You hear me? You don't want to miss another Wednesday. We may come on between 3 to 4, but we are here every single week. Sometimes we'll, switch it up a little bit, throw in a little wrench and come in at noon, but we're here every week dropping these gems for you guys so that you can really move with mastery in the marketplace. No longer trying to figure out what your purpose is, or no longer try to clarify your message, but we're here to help you get to the next level in your business. And so I just had to pause to say that real quick. But you said so many really good points, and I was trying to write down everything. But the first one I want to land is monitor your emotions. That part right there, like for me, rejection was one of the biggest things I had to deal with from my life, from childhood. So it was all too familiar for me coming into business. And I had to really monitor my emotions, like monitor what I was thinking, what I was feeling when I went back to that place. End up in a similar situation with a group of women, and moving in business, and felt rejection in that space as well. And having to really overcome that. Oh gosh, Sadie, having really to overcome that was kind of difficult, that even a year later I'm still finding myself sitting in those thoughts. But I have to really check myself and come back to, like what you said. I love that you dropped that affirmation. If you can, send it to us, because I want to recite that too, on a daily basis, that it was a blessing for me.
Yeah.
I did not have to, God did not want me to move in the same space. And I kept trying to figure out what was bad about these people. And sometimes my mind would bring it back to, yeah, because they did this, or they were like this, and this is their personality. But the bottom line is, it was not meant to be. I don't need to have an excuse for what God has, pulled apart. I don't have to have a reason. I just have to follow and be obedient to what God is doing, and to allow feel the emotions. But when it's time to move, do not let the emotions allow me to stay in that stagnant place.
That's good. That's
Number
good.
2, you said that the rejection, if we don't deal with it, prolongs our transition period. Oh my gosh, that part right there. Like, you could be so far ahead, but you're prolonging it because you just don't want to get over the emotions. You don't want to let it go. You want to be justified in saying, I'm right because of this, or I'm, this is how I'm supposed to feel, or they did me wrong, or they
Yeah.
knew, I was good, or whatever it is. Your mind tries to play tricks on you, and you end up just going around in this cycle, in this
And
place
not moving
longer,
nowhere.
and
And
not
who
moving
cares? Who
nowhere. Oh my
cares?
gosh. Oh, Jesus. And
A
then
pity party by yourself.
you said stop dwelling on those places or people that did not want you. Oh, that hurt my ego. Because you don't want to think about yourself like, I'm not wanted in this place. I'm not needed in this place. I have to move on. And sometimes it takes a rejection for you to move on, because we'll stay in the place that we're no longer wanted or needed. Like, we
Yeah.
don't have a purpose in that place, but we'll stay there too long just because it feels familiar. And God says, I will allow rejection to come into your life so that you would move. The rejection is pretty much pushing you further into your purpose, because you wouldn't move otherwise. And then the last thing I wrote down, this is what I was writing down before. I was like, give me a second. Rejection really refines your desires. Rejection
Yeah.
refines your desires, because some things you said, some things you wanted, but it wasn't only until you were rejected that you realized, I don't really want this. This is not what I wanted to. I was just doing this because everybody else was going in that direction. But once you get in the place of rejection, like, we don't want you here, we don't need you here, you got to go, you start really looking inward and saying, do I really want to be in this place? Is this what I really want to do? Is this for me, God? So it really refines your desires, and it pulls out who you are meant to be. Oh, rejection is so powerful. And we definitely have to change and shift our perspective, because we're looking at rejection as a bad thing, something that comes to hinder us. And rejection is really coming to push us into purpose even more.
But the thing about rejection too is the thing about love is about even looking at the life of Jesus. He couldn't do miracles where he wasn't wanted. he knew that, hey, this is not the place for me to go. I'm going to the next place. And what happens once you start to really go to the places that really desire your gifting, you start to value yourself more with what you decide and allow to deal with. There are certain things that in certain places that it screams, hey, we don't want you. Leave it alone. Like, stop bringing your same self to places that don't want you. Because what happens, you start to realize is, even if you were there and you try to perform your giftings or you be who you are, it won't be appreciated because you don't belong there. The more you start to realize that, hey, you know what? As much as as much as I see a need for myself in there, you can only go where you're received. Like, for example, is, people have like, what's the card that's not accepted everywhere? It's not MasterCard. Is it Discover? So, for example, American Express is a super dope card, but it's not wanted everywhere. So, if you can't use it, you got to find another, move on to places that accept it, right? Same situation. Place don't accept cash. Okay, go where it's wanted so you can really get the value of what you're giving. And the thing about it is, too, once you really start to really, you got to take time daily to really work on yourself, take time to daily examine yourself, because sometimes you're not wanted in the rooms or welcome in there because you might be raggedy a little bit, or you might not be ready for that phase to go in there. So sometimes the rejection is to make you better. So when you go back the next time and do a demand, you'll get more of what you're asking for because you're coming with such a value. Sometimes you got to check your value to see why you're not really allowed in certain places, because sometimes your value is not up to par. So you have to take time to really work on yourself daily. Like what we're doing now with my classroom is we're starting to open up a cafe on Thursdays, right? So I'm getting the kids ready for that part. So I'm tougher in lab now. So like, I had some kids today where they didn't come to class on time. I said, all right, sit down. You got to do a workbook page, because you got to realize where we're going in these next two market periods. We have to be so proficient because we're serving not just you guys, we're serving the whole school and eventually the whole community by the end of next month. So how you show up is how you really get credited for your value. And so oftentimes we come to these different rooms, we come to these spaces, we're not prepared, we're trying to wing it. You cannot wing everything in life. I've tried it. So it's like there's certain things I cannot wing, and I realize that certain times I cannot wing it. Yes, I'm a great talker, but I learned that, listen, I have to really step my game up if I want to go into those spaces again. If I want to be accepted in these certain places, sometimes I have to be rejected to be better. I can think of a time when I worked at the Hyatt. I had to be like 18, 7. I worked there from 16 to 21. And I first started working in a restaurant there, and I had made a soup of the day and I had to make a special today. My chef threw it out in front of my face 4 times. And he said, "You still serving crap, huh?" And he said, "If you can't handle it, get out like just go back to the other department as an intern." And that hurt. And mine just one of my closest friends now. But that really like kind of threw me off because I'm like, yo, he throwing my stuff out. He said, but it's not excellent. It's not perfect. Look at your knife skills. Look at this. Look at the flavor. And so it opened my mind up to now you won't ever see me put no crazy crap out soup out now, because that from almost like 15 years ago has shown me I have to come up with a certain level of excellence. And when you show with excellence, people will start to value. So places where you weren't accepted before, they will want to be around you so much because now they know you are the expert at this area. You are the expert at this. You are the guru for this. You are the fashion person for this. I can go to this person for all desserts and all the rest. Like, it's to a point now I don't even have to promote my business much because people just come because they want to. They're I'm known for this. So until you're known for this, don't wonder why you might not be invited to that space. Just say, hey, I'm not ready for that room anyway. I'm not ready for this blessing. Let me take time to really work on myself.
Ooh, baby. Not only does it refine your desire, he says rejection allows you to refine your craft. You
Mm-hmm.
get to go back and do that thing over again and refine it and make it better. I love that because as you were saying that, I remember a time when I first came into entrepreneurship and wanted to be, a coach and not understanding where I fit in. I had another coach, phenomenal coach that goes by the same name. She says, Natalie, you we don't know what you got to offer. You talk a nice game. I know I can bring you up to the stage and you'll amplify and add to my my stage or whatever. But
Mhm.
what do you have to offer? Like, what offer are you presenting? What can somebody purchase from you? Because I
Mhm.
feel like nobody can purchase anything from you, and you're leaving a whole lot of money on the table. Man, that woman said that thing hurt me to my heart. But you know what it made me do? It made me go back and say, I shut down the business a little while after that. Like, look, you need to get it together. What's going on here? What do you really offer? And it took me a month to figure out. Clarity was my niche. Clarity was what
Good.
people were coming for. Every time they get into a session with me, they're like, oh my gosh, I gained so much clarity. I feel so much. I had all the pieces, but I didn't know how to put them together. And you just
That's
gave me a
good.
clear path to move on. And I was like, that's what it is that they're coming for. They're coming for clarity. And then after that, I started saying, you know what? Because I'm in the business arena, I want to help other businesses. I've got to know the language. So I went and I started taking business courses, business classes. Now my
Mhm.
major is mathematics. I have a master's in curriculum and instruction and education. I didn't know anything about business, and I'm trying to navigate through business. And I'm using my, educational background, the fact that I can learn pretty well and pretty quickly to help me, but I still needed to be saturated in that environment. So I went back and took classes. But the rejection, the fact that nobody was signing up for my offers, the fact that people were like, I like you, I love to listen to you talk, but I'm not buying nothing from you, Natalie. I think I sold one thing that year. And then having somebody, who was on a much elevated platform than me say this to me caused me to now say, you know what, I'm going to take that rejection and I'm going to listen to it, because it's not a rejection against me personally. They don't hate me as a person.
Mhm.
I just don't have nothing to offer. And I need to go back and refine this thing. I need to go back and fix some things. I need to retweak. I need to learn. I need to become better. I need to niche down. There were so many things that I needed to do, but it wasn't until I was rejected, my God, that I was able to see that. Now, before, people were saying, Natalie, you're so awesome. You're so wonderful. I love to hear you speak, but they're not buying. And I'm a businesswoman. And if they're not purchasing anything, if I'm not making a profit, then I'm really a nonprofit organization. I'm not a business. So I had to
And
really
even they
check
get paid.
myself. You know what I mean? Like, I had to check myself and check where I was landing. Like, girl,
Yeah.
you need to get it together. If you claim to be a business, businesses make a profit and you're not making a profit, how do you get from where you are to where you need to be? Allow the rejection to steer you in the right direction. Instead of sitting there and saying, woe is me, they don't like me, it's because I'm so great and I'm so fun. No, boo boo, you have to get your stuff together. Get it right, all the way right. So I love that you talked about, how rejection is just really, I feel like it's fine tuning us and refining us and making us better, but we have to be able to see it from the right vantage point.
Mhm. That's good. It's all about clarity, and sometimes too, like really, rejection can really knock you off your game. Rejection is very, very hard to deal with when you haven't built the stamina to deal with an attack, right? Think about like a boxer. A boxer has to deal with the constant pulling, fighting, where they got to be able to take a hit. And so you want to avoid some hits as much as possible. Sometimes you can avoid certain hits. There are certain blows that's going to hit you, and it's going to really cause you to want to, say some things, cause you to want to give up, cause you to move where it's like you don't want to make it. Like there are a lot of things that are coming to really, attack you, but you got to be to a point where it's like I believe in my why so much that I'm going to achieve it.
Come
I'm going
on.
to believe in my purpose so much that I'm going to achieve it. But you have to know that, hey, I can make it. I can do this thing. And the more you start to build your confidence up, build your stamina up, like perfect example of that was even with King David. People rejected that he could get Goliath, knock him out. They rejected him. Meanwhile, they didn't know that he's been practicing with lion, tigers, and bears back there because he's been building up his stamina up. So what happened was when he was able to go face Goliath, he built that strength up already. So even though people rejected what he had to offer, he already knew what his assignment was. You have to be so pressed on your assignment and knowing where to go to train, knowing where to go to perform it, that when it's in the right time, in the right place, and all the situations are right, when you come to the scene, you'll have the solution. No matter what people are saying, no matter what they're rejecting. And guess what? The person that was rejected, even when they came in line, so when the prophet came, they didn't even look at David. They came looking at all the other brothers. And he was the, but here's the thing, the rejected one will be the one who gets the most glory. Joseph, his brothers couldn't stand him. He ended up being a ruler. So like even it's like when you're rejected, don't take rejection as end all be all. No, that's the place to really start building your skills, building your talents, because next time when the spotlight comes back on you, just know that hey, this is your time to shine no matter what. You have to be so committed to your purpose, so committed to your destiny that no matter how it looks, no matter what rejection faces you, you're like, nah, it's cool. It's not my season now, but let me go back to the drawing board. Let me go back and edit myself. So when I come back for the fight, I'll have the right tools and that are necessary to really come back stronger than I was before.
That's so good. Listen, you can pick up a whole lot of tools on the journey. And
Hmm.
I mean, this discussion was so good and so enriching. And it even helps me to see certain parts that I'm still holding on to from being rejected, where I need to just release it and let it go and just
Hmm.
move forward, because it's keeping, even though not all of me is being stagnant, certain parts of me refuses to move forward because it's
Your
like, but what
fullness
if
will
it,
be reached.
this happens again? Or what if
Hmm.
this happens again? It's like you really constantly have to do. And I love the fact that you talked about affirmations, because I feel like affirmations do that. Every day it really addresses the core essence of how you feel and how you think. And reciting those, people think that, oh, you have to believe it to recite it. No, no, no. You recite it until you believe it, and it will pull out some things in you that you have not addressed yet, because you're constantly bringing your mind back to this place of, I'm going to make this happen, I'm going to win no matter what. And so I love that. Rejection is just really, if we look at it from the right point of view, we'll see how it can help propel us further into our purpose. I like saying that, I love saying that purpose gives us direction and clarity gives us confidence. And we need direction and confidence when we're moving into the marketplace. It is hard out here in these entrepreneurial streets. People, you
That
be
part.
wanting to quit every other day, every 5 minutes. People will try you just for trying you sake. The bills will act up, because that's what bills be doing sometimes.
Yeah.
You will have the 10K month, and then you'll have the 1K month. And you have to, like Chef J said, are you built? Do you have the stamina to ride this thing? Do you have the stamina? Especially in the beginning, it's like a roller coaster, up and down. Or as somebody would say, one of my friends said, it's not a roller coaster, it's a heartbeat. A heartbeat
Yeah.
goes up and down, up and down, up and down.
Yeah.
And so we have to really have the stamina. I can't even
Yeah.
say it right now, to endure till the end. We have to
But you,
have it to endure till the end.
so
So this
funny.
was
I'm
really
going.
good.
Yeah, I've been going over my books on Shopify because I tried to move all my sales on Shopify. A few people paid me other ways last year, and I saw how much I make each month, right? But I can go back to the feeling of that month and what I experienced, and I'm like, man, how I was struggling that month to get it, or this month was really profitable, and I said, man, now that I'm here, like this is a year later, I'm saying I could have just did X, Y, and Z and it would have worked out. Or hey, this month I really realized I forgot what holidays is in the month. I could have promoted X, Y, and Z sale. You know, so now when you do experience moments of rejection or failure, you're able to really kind of once you write the stuff down that you kind of went through. Which that's why journaling is good. Documenting your process is good because when you go back, you can say, "Hey, this is where I failed at." But you know what? Next March of this year, I know what to do differently. August was a slow month because I was on a plane every week, but I'm like I could have did other sales. I could have promoted my seasonings. But there's so many things I could have promoted differently. But what happens is once you take those moments of failure and rejection and really kind of bring them back, reflect on them, and then think about it again, you're able to really come back as a better person who's more equipped to handle the rejection, handle the stress, handle the failure, and come back and receive the blessing of the failure, which is going to make you only a better person, more better, profitable person.
Amen. Amen. You dropped the mic. A much more profitable person. Listen,
Yes.
rejection is not final. Just like failure isn't final. We already know that, especially when you have a vision of what the outcome is going to be, you already know that rejection is coming like opposition to what you already set out your intentions to do. Every time you set out an intention, and I hope people get this, because it took me a while to get it. When you set your intentions to do something, Immediately. It's like, I don't know, care if y'all say the universe or, the earth or whatever it is, but immediately the enemy comes and says, all right, you said you're going to do this. Even if you think the thought, I'm gonna
Mhm.
bring some opposition for you. Like for me, I set my intentions for the week. I said, one of my Renaya, one of my girlfriends said, "Hey, what's your intention for the week?" And I'm like, one, two, three. The very next day, I get sick. I'm like, I just set the intentions for the week. How am I gonna get sick? I can't
Because you
even
have
do
to have
any
an
of it.
opposing thought
You know what I
about your
mean?
intention. Yeah.
So it's just like, expect that to happen. But what do? You're not going to sit. I'm not going to be like, oh my gosh, so now that I got sick, I'm not going to get back up. No, I'm going to get back up the next day after I recover, and I'm going to set my intentions again, because I'm letting the world know, I'm letting the enemy know, you cannot stop me. You're going to have to give up, because
Good.
I am going to be relentless in my pursuit of getting to the end result that God had already shown me. And we have to have the mindset that even rejection, when it comes, is not going to stop us from moving forward and doing what God is calling us to do. So we can either see it as a hindrance and stay stuck, or we can see it as something that's going to propel us into the future. How can I allow rejection to be fuel to my fire so that I can get to the place where God has showed me in my dreams? How can I use this for fuel? When my husband, we have the fireplace out in the backyard, and realistically, you're supposed to go to the store, get the firewood and all that other stuff. But sometimes things happen and you don't have that. The other day we had the Christmas tree still up by the end of January. He was like, you know what? Let's cut down this Christmas tree and fuel this fire. Like, it's not typical of what I am supposed to use to fuel the fire in the fireplace, but that's what I got handy. So we're going to use that. This is how we have to look at rejection. Listen, it's not typical for us to use rejection to fuel our fire to move forward, but that's what I got available to me. So I'm going to use everything that I have available to me to get to
That's
the end
good.
result. Rejection won't stop me. It's just going to help me get better and push me further into my purpose with clarity.
That's good. All right. Well, she wrapped it up. That was good. You got to use what you got. And sometimes it may not be your ideal situation, but you got to use what you got to get where you need to go. It's not always perfect. Use what you have, use what's in your hand. Identify your resource. Once you identify your resource, you'll start to see, hey, you know what? I can do this. Let me check in my hands. These hands were made to prosper. Whatever's available to me now is what God wanted me to have to really build my future. And so that's it, guys. So listen, make sure you guys click the link in our bio if you're looking for coaching. If you're looking for clarity coaching, hit Natalie up. If you're looking for coaching on your purpose, reach out to me. And that's it, guys. Fam, I want you guys to have a super dope weekend. No matter how things look, no matter if you reject it or not, use that towards your advantage. And go back to that 80-20 post I posted the other day about learning how to live in the moment 80% of the time, in the future 20, because you start to realize if you start living in the moment more so, you'll realize the stuff that you think is meant to hurt you, if you just sit in it and just really just start to enjoy all of the blessings, you'll start to see that I have everything that I need and I'm right where I'm supposed to be. And tomorrow will be my receiving day for what I need. And that's it. All right. Have a good week on purpose, everybody.
Bye.